The $60,000 mistake. Why your morals are keeping you poor. I have a question that I've wanted to ask you for a long time. What exactly is money to you? Is it a tool? Is it a goal? Or is it something you secretly despise? When I was in college, I was obsessed with the idea of getting rich. I read every book, attended every lecture, and memorized every economic theory. I thought I knew it all. But here is the humiliating truth. My bank account didn't grow by a single cent. I was like a student who memorized the textbook but failed the test. And while I was busy studying wealth, my friends were out there actually becoming wealthy. And the reason why? It comes down to a single story that changed my life. Forever a story about a $60,000 mistake that still haunts me. It was summer break. A friend of mine, let's call him John, had a wealthy father. His dad told him to go to this investment conference, a business roadshow for a new logistics project. He told John to bring a friend, so I tagged along. We get to this freight station, and there's a big tent set up. It wasn't fancy. No fireworks, no red carpet, just a bunch of plastic chairs and brochures. We sat down, and a guy walked onto the stage to pitch the project. And immediately, my scam radar went off. You know the feeling. The guy was loud. He was overly confident. He was making big promises. He felt ... salesy. And back then, I prided myself on being down to earth and honest. I looked at this guy and thought, this is brainwashing. This is hype. I'm too smart for this. So, after 10 minutes, I nudged John and said, I'm out. This isn't for me. I'll be at the coffee shop next door. I walked out. I felt superior. I felt like I had dodged a bullet. John stayed. When he came to the coffee shop later, he was excited. That experience broke me. But it also woke me up. I realized that the barrier between me and wealth wasn't opportunity. The opportunity was right there, sitting in front of my face. The barrier was my own psychology. I was poor because I was judging the packaging instead of the product. See, in the world of the poor, we are taught that sales is dirty. We are taught that if something sounds too good to be true, it is. We are taught to be skeptical of everything. But in the world of the rich, they understand a fundamental truth. Nothing happens until something is sold. That guy on stage, he had to be loud. He had to be hype. He was raising capital. If he whispered, nobody would have listened. I was judging his style. John was judging his business model. That is the difference. You have to understand that investment is an art, not a science. If it were just science, just math, and charts, every mathematician would be a billionaire. They aren't. Investment is about character. It is about controlling two primitive emotions, greed and fear. My problem that day wasn't that I didn't have the money. It was that I was terrified of the unknown. I disguised my fear as moral superiority. Primera told myself, I'm better than this guy. But really, I was just scared to lose. And if you are terrified of losing money, you will never, ever make it. This brings me to a phrase I hear poor people say all the time. Money is you can't take it with you when you die. Let me be brutal with you. You do not have the right to say that. That is a phrase reserved for people who have actually made money and realized its limitations. If you are broke and you say money doesn't matter, you are just medicating yourself. You are making an excuse for your lack of results. Wealth requires a specific frequency. It requires you to respect it, and this goes deeper than just business. It goes to the core of who you are as a human being. In ancient philosophy, they talk about the way, I used to think that meant being a monk. Now I realize it means understanding the laws of the universe. And one of the most powerful laws is gratitude specifically. Gratitude for your origins. I'm talking about your parents. I know. Some of you have terrible parents. Some of them were absent. Some were cruel. But they gave you the one thing that made everything else possible. Life. If you carry resentment toward your origins, You are cutting off your own roots. You are living in a state of negativity that repels wealth. Look at the greatest achievers in history. Even the ones with complicated family lives often took care of their own. Why? Because it's not just about love. It's about responsibility. It's about benevolence. If you can't even provide for the people who brought you into this world, how can you expect to lead a team? How can you expect to manage an empire? True success is when your success lifts up everyone around you. That is the ultimate Tao. So, how do we fix this? How do we stop being the person who walks out of the tent? We need 3 things. First, wisdom. Wisdom isn't knowing everything. It's knowing who to trust. I didn't know if that logistics company would succeed, but I should have been wise enough to see the potential or trust someone who did. Second, benevolence. Stop worrying about the future. Stop creating anxiety for yourself. Do your best work today, right now. If you are the best at what you do, the future takes care of itself. Anxiety is just interest paid on trouble before it is due. And finally, courage. This is the big one. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It is the ability to act despite the fear. It is the ability to look at a risky opportunity and say, I have done my homework. I understand the downsides, and I am going in. The world is full of people who are smart. They can deconstruct every business plan, find every flaw, and tell you exactly why it will fail. And they are usually broke. Don't be a critic. Be a player. Do you want to let your fear of being sold stop you from buying into your own future? Because let me tell you, watching your friend drive away in a Ferrari that could have been yours that hurts a lot more than sitting through a salesy presentation. Wake up, drop the ego, and get in the game.